Purple iris. This piece was, I love irises, and I would buy bulbs of irises, exotic bulbs, foreign bulbs. And in my garden in France, I had this whole bed of different color irises. But the purple one was kind of special because it reminded me of the fleur-de-lis and of New Orleans, and the purple and gold is the New Orleans, I think, football colors or something like that. And I just love the idea that one can look at a flower, the bulb, plant it, you know, dig around in the earth. I would have my students come plant irises when I'd buy a whole bunch of them. And they would dig a hole like this and bury the whole thing way down deep. And I said, what are you doing? The iris has got to be like this deep in the soil. And they didn't know. And they would wrap the roots around it like a noose and stick it a foot under the earth. And I said, you know, you've got to know how to plant. So that was a great thing, is what is a flower? To understand a flower. I used to eat carnations when I got excited. I would just grab one and eat it. And it was fun. They taste like cinnamon. But anyway, this iris, in growing irises, you realize that they have a beautiful scent. Very, very faint. And I think when I painted it, I was trying to paint the scent. I was trying to get the aura of the iris, and the sun, and the earth, and the water, and everything that goes into it, feeding it, to shine in the drawing. So it's, you know, and the insects flying around on them, and the dew, the mountain in the morning, walking out and seeing the dew on the velvet, and the brittle texture of the old dried iris, and hearing it crunch, and really understanding the iris, and trying to express each beautiful period, metamorphosis of its life. And as a lot of frames go around the piece, traditionally, if they can go around the piece, they can go to the side of the piece, or they can go on the bottom, or they can go to the left, or top. You can put the frame anywhere as long as you're dealing with the frame, which is a classical piece of artwork itself, which led to me doing a huge frame, 6 meters tall and 6 meters wide in bronze, that weighed over 2 tons. And I created 3 of them in the world, and they're in Pietrasanta, Italy. One is in Monaco overlooking the harbor and the Opera House and the whole city of Monte Carlo. And the other one is at the Puccini Festival Foundation in Torre del Lago, Italy, in Tuscany. So the frame has become very important in my life, in all of these pieces, the recent pieces. And I think the plexiglass is another concept. It's another technique of framing. And you've got the classical frames, you've got the mosaics, you've got a paintbrush thrown in there, you've got the gold, the silver, and this little I did an elevator shaft in vaults of these very wealthy clients, and the whole shaft of 3 stories on all 4 sides is mosaic. And when you stop at each floor, you have a tableau, a painting of mosaics, a design. So this is moving for me. This is an elevator shaft here. Laying down on the floor of San Marco in Venice and feeling where people have walked, and looking and seeing the gold tooth effect, where that tile of white must have come out years ago and they replaced it with another one that's bright white and all the rest of them are gray. I call that the gold tooth effect. And I try to do that in all of my work, is to give it a sense of being old, of having endured time, of being something that can stand on its own forever, you know, forever in our limited little time warp periods. And then mixing in these ugly frames. An ugly frame in the right place is beautiful. Just like this old board with blue and red on it. So I look at each part of the frame as something different. In fact, I've taken other longer bits of molding and strung them across coming out. If I can make this piece 30 feet long by extending some mosaic panels, shooting them off in triangles and boards and molding strips going way out, and you can take these pieces, and I think the correct formula or nomenclature for such great pieces is not business art, but the big paintings that they do in businesses, and they call it a different kind of art. It's big on the market, it's a marketing term. Well, you can make any of my pieces like that. You can extend the frames as far as you want. And this one really needs to be added to a long way. There's one piece in Mobile at the Bank Trust building that I think is 20 feet long, because I did that to a small piece, and just a little tulip piece with a little frame, and I just added to the frame and it filled up the wall. So in this case, size matters, because people have gotten used to the idea since the late 60s that big canvases are more important than small miniatures, and whatever.